the original recording of Spit only has one chorus, but we added a second one to the re-recorded version. Nobody has said anything, so it's like everybody just thinks it exists in our timeline. Hey there, Mercedes from Kittie, and you are either listening to or watching the Chronicles of Podcast with Jamie and Tom.
Hello world, Wednesday 13 here.
Hey, this is Tom Stain.
Hello everybody, I'm Ronnie Ledrew.
Yes, my friends, my name's John Mahon.
What's going on, everybody? It's Tom. And it's Jamie. Welcome to the Chronicles of Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, theys and thems, let me take you back to the year 2000, where a young Jamie was given a CD single by his stepdad at the time, who described it as not my thing, but you know, you like that shouty stuff. That single was a song called Brackish, and he was right. I bloody did like it. I then went on to go to my first ever gig with my friends to see this band in Wolverhampton back in 2001. Well, this week's guest is the drummer and founding member of this band, who are celebrating the 25th anniversary of their debut album, Spit. Here to talk all about the brand new Spit 25 EP and more, we bring you Mercedes Lander for the Chronicles of Kittie.
Hello. That was an excellent intro. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You did not disappoint.
No,
I didn't.
Yes,
I'm proud of you.
I remember that Wolverhampton show too. So
really,
we didn't back in the day, we didn't play we were only really in Europe like once or twice a year. So.
Amazing. Yeah, I met Shadow's full support in a
Yes.
very eye-opening experience. That was, like I said, my first ever gig. Me and my mate, it was like, what is going on?
I also do want to say that that was the longest tour we've ever done over in that area of the world, and it was 2 months.
Oh my
2
God.
months. Yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
yeah.
That is a long tour. Yeah.
Yeah.
Long.
Mercedes, before we get started, like, how's your day been today? Like, what have you been doing with yourself?
Great. I work in tech, so I finished up my workday today, and then yeah, I've been up since 5 this morning. You know,
Oh.
I have cats that I have to take care of, so, and I like to get things done before I work, so did a lot of stuff. So I get up really early. And then I went to the gym this morning, and then I worked a full day, and now I'm here.
Perfect. Just a standard Wednesday.
So usually we like to start these things by taking you right back to the early days of childhood when you were growing up. But you started Kittie when you were like 12, was it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even though obviously you started the band at such a young age, was there something else you wanted to be originally, or was this just always music for you?
So realistically, there wasn't really a whole lot that I was like, wow, I really want to do this when I grow up. There wasn't really anything that like kind of stuck out to me. It was always music involved, like, because I started playing piano when I was like 6. So I really, that music was always a part of my life. So it's kind of interesting. It was always like, oh, maybe I'll be a music teacher. I had my my grade 1 teacher was taught with her piano, because she was a piano player, and that like really like drew me in, the fact that like all of her lessons were focused around like music. So yeah, like I was like, oh, maybe I'll be a music teacher when I grow up or something like that. And then yeah, it's always been centered around music, which is kind of interesting.
That's amazing. But where did that love for alternative music come from then? Because obviously your first inspiration was like my piano and that sort of, where did heavy music come into it?
I think so. My parents obviously listened to like music, the heavy music of the 70s. So bands like Kiss, Van Halen, AC/DC, bands like that. So my parents were that type of music was always in the car when we were driving around. So so it it was pretty obvious that I was going to gravitate towards that type of music. I'm a lover of all music, obviously. I like everything, a little bit of everything. So growing up in the 80s and like listening to like radio stations in Toronto where I grew up in the Greater Toronto area. Everything was very multicultural. So, you got like reggae stations, you got pretty much anything you can think of. There would always be like so there were like reggae stations, there were like Indian music stations, and then like there'd be like the regular classic rock stations, and then like, R&B stations and stuff like that. So I got a good mix of everything. So I just really loved music. But I think the band that kind of started my journey back to heavy music and like to like really bringing myself I'll say two. So the first band obviously from my childhood was Van Halen, and that was the band that really got me interested in like rhythm, right? So listening to Alex Van Halen play, like I always thought like the intro to Hot for Teacher was super cool and stuff like that. But I didn't pick up the drums until I was 12. But when I was 11, I discovered Silverchair. And
Oh,
so Morgan and I discovered Silverchair one night. We were watching our music station, Much Music, and they came on. I think it was either the Israel Sun video, or it was the Tomorrow video. I can't remember. But that video came on and we were like, holy shit, these kids are our age. They're young and they're doing this. So it was like immediately like I was like, I can be a drummer, I can be a musician and like do this. So that was like the band that kind of like made us realize like, wow, like we can do this. And then it was like the floodgates opened, and then it was like, we discovered bands like Tool and Korn and bands like that.
that's awesome. So you're saying that you didn't pick up drums until you were 12. Obviously, you started
Yeah.
Kittie when you were 12. So it was like,
Yeah.
I have drums. Right, let's start a band. Like,
Yeah. That was the main goal, right? So like it wasn't like I'm going to play drums and I'm going to learn this instrument. It was I am going to play drums so I can be in a band.
That's amazing. What was it
Yeah.
about drums that drew you in?
I've always been a very tactile person, so I like to build things. I like to um I like to engineer things. I like to take things apart and put them back together. Not in a methy way, but like in like an engineering way. Yeah, like I that was really appealing to me, that aspect of like building your drum kit, and like because you can't really, like with a guitar, it's like you can't really customize it like you can a drum kit, right? So that was really appealing to me, but also like the physical aspect of it. Like I've always been a very physical person. Like I always played, sports. I always, worked with my hands. When I got to do like woodworking class in school, like that was like my favorite period, you know? So like I've always been like a very physical person. So it was just something that really spoke to me for sure. And I feel like I have pretty good rhythm. So
That's awesome.
That's-
I love things like but obviously starting Kittie at such a young age, recording the album at 15. So how did you guys go about getting gigs back then? Must have been a nightmare.
So in where we lived in London, Ontario, we had two clubs that had all ages shows, and they weren't booked all the time with national acts because London is a B market. So, sometimes from Detroit to Toronto, bands would hit London, but sometimes they just skip that shit. Or like coming down from Buffalo, same thing. They hit Toronto and then go down to Detroit and skip London. So London's a B market. Well, I mean, back then there was only maybe 200,000 people in London. Now it's like closer to 500,000, but back then, it was like a pretty, it was like a smaller city.
Mm,
So these clubs, these two clubs called the Office and the Embassy, they were all ages clubs. Like I've seen so many bands at both of those clubs. Like, and some of the biggest bands in the world have cut their teeth in places like the Embassy and called the Office. Like I saw System of a Down at the Embassy. I saw Fear Factory at the Embassy. So many bands that called the Office. Like they were just literally like the B market, and they were like, mid-sized clubs where they held like 500 people. So there were open nights for us, right? For local bands. So especially with the Embassy was a lot easier to book. But I feel like Call the Office was like kind of like a little harder, but we did
mm.
get gigs there. Our first gig ever was there, and it was a battle of the bands. But for the Embassy, like we were playing there like every 2 weeks, once a week sometimes. Um, and it was just a great breeding ground for like a ton. If you played a show there at that period of time in the late 90s, if you played a show there, there was a built-in audience because kids didn't have anything to do. So they would just converge on the Embassy, and they knew that there was going to be live music there, or their friends' bands were playing. So, it'd be like five, six, seven local bands a night. There was two rooms, and the Whippet Lounge in the Embassy, and there would be bands playing in the Whippet. There'd be bands playing in the Embassy, and that's literally where all of the kids went. When we were young, just to like obviously do something, right? Because there wasn't a ton to do for kids, especially teenagers. So yeah, we had the opportunity to play a ton at that club. And then, obviously like anytime that there was like a heavier show, like I remember we opened for like Napalm Death at in at the Embassy, or at Call the Office, which was like that was a harder venue to book. But yeah, we opened for like Napalm Death there. It was pretty cool. Um
That's fucking awesome.
It's wild.
yeah. And like remind you, like this is like 1998. Like it was crazy.
Jesus, that's nuts.
Yeah.
But obviously, we are here to celebrate Spit. Now, we do want to talk about the album when it originally came out, because you guys went from releasing the album, then suddenly you're touring with Slipknot, you're playing Ozfests, you're releasing a home video. How did you deal with all that pressure at such a young age? Or were you just enjoying the ride for what it is?
So I feel like we were kind of like in a bubble in that period of time. Like we didn't really realize and didn't really understand the magnitude of it because we were so young, right? So it was interesting. And as an adult looking in, it was very insular. So like we had like our bubble, and we rarely like stepped outside of that bubble, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
It was pretty great though. Like especially on those first few runs, like as we were kind of cutting our teeth, um, things were just happening so fast. I feel like we didn't really even have time to smell the roses, so to speak. But it was a fantastic time too. Like I'm so grateful for all of the experiences that I had. And like I really do feel like it was such a wonderful and beautiful experience to be able to like see the world in that way at that age. And also like, wow, like there are people that I've met that I still am friends with, that I still see to this day. Like if I go to England, I know that there's certain people that I'm going to see, or I go to Germany, I know there's certain people that I'm going to see. They're going to message me and they're going to be like, hey, let's hang out. And like these are literally people that I've known for like 25 years. So I've made lifelong friends. I had all these amazing experiences with fans, and like people like you, for instance, where you got to go to your first gig ever, and that was my show. And like that is so fucking cool, right? Like wow. I want to say it didn't Sixth play that Wolverhampton show as well. Because
I,
they're
I
like an enigma, that band. Like they broke up and they only play like, but I'm pretty sure they were the local opener for the England
I
part
can
of it.
only remember Shadows Fall, but you might be right. It was a long time ago.
Yeah. Which that band is like, they're like, oh, like they're like the Kings of Degent or whatever that style of music is called. But those kids, like, I mean, like those kids, for instance, like so many bands got their start with us too, which is kind of fantastic, which I always like, I love that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like it's those experiences in general were just so um beautiful. And I'm so glad that I got to experience them. And I'm so glad I get to do it again.
Obviously, yes. I have got to mention though, I did mention the spit in your eye video then.
Yeah.
Thanks to that video, I saw that video when I was what, 15, 16 when that came out? I'm 40 next year, and still to this day, I refer to eggs as chicken period. All because of that video. I can't remember who said it. I think it was Fallon.
Yeah,
But
so we were in England when there was an interviewer that referred to it as that, and he was a British guy, and so then we just adopted that because that's what it is.
it is. Every day is that, don't eat eggs, they're chicken period.
Yeah.
Stuck in my head forever.
And when obviously you started writing Spit, did you ever think it would become as iconic as it has? Did you ever think that was going to what broke the mold for you, basically?
Oh my God, absolutely not. No, we were just at the time like so think about it in these terms. So we started writing music in 1996 and we started writing the songs for Spit in 1996. It was just three of us. We didn't get a bass player until later, much later. So like the three of us, some of those songs were written in my personal opinion, I feel like you can tell which songs are very old on that record and which songs are newer. Like you can tell like Spit and Do You Think those two songs are like much newer than songs like Johnny and like Brackish, for instance, although Brackish kind of got a facelift. Um, uh, Morgan actually that we had to go back into the studio to record all of the vocals for Brackish later on because she had lost her voice during the recording. So all of the screaming parts that she did for the chorus and then all of the singing parts for the chorus and the verses, she ended up having to like wait like 2 weeks after the fact, which is kind of funny.
Oh,
Wow.
But yeah, like, well, because her technique at the time, like, she was just not doing it correctly, right? So,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, we recorded that record in 9 days, so we had no idea. We thought this was just going to be like a cool, like, summer thing. We were going to go on tour for the summer and then go back to school, and it was like, well, I have a record that's out that sold 5,000 copies because that's all we were going to sell. We only printed 5,000 copies of Spit, only 5,000.
Wow, that's wild.
And then obviously that didn't work out.
Seconds. Yeah. Seconds gone.
It was actually, so the original release date for that version, because there's a couple versions of Spit. So the original release, there's only 5,000 copies of it. You can find them now every once in a while. But they just pulled, like they sold in a week. So we stopped and created a new release date and then obviously like updated the cover and everything like that. And had a proper release, which is kind of neat.
That's nuts. Like you say, like you just thought, this is summer project, I'll release that. Oh shit, people like this. Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, like we didn't expect that at all, you know.
It's kind of, but obviously you went from Spit to Oracle, where you had like a much heavier sound going from that point.
Yeah.
What made you decide to go down a heavier route from the second album?
So I think that so obviously when we recorded Spit, we were still not very novice with our instruments. Like we weren't great players. I wasn't a great player. I think the innovation was there, but the ideas were there, but they weren't really something that we could execute regularly and well. And I think the fact that we spent, those 2 years on the road almost, really helped us to be able to actualize what we wanted to actually sound like.
Mm.
So if you listen to a record like Oracle on, that's what we wanted to sound like, right?
Yeah.
So we were actually able to actualize that. Whereas with Spit, that's why you listen to Spit and it sounds completely different than every record we've ever done. And that really has a lot to do with us just not being able to actually facilitate the sound that we wanted to be able to create, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with Oracle, it was a little different.
So obviously, you say you've stuck with that idea now of going for that heavy sound. So where did the idea come from to re-record some of these songs now, 25 years later?
So we've obviously, like, we've always wanted to do this, and there's a couple reasons why. Um, we really wanted to make sure that um, people that maybe have never heard that record, or you know, we wanted to make sure that those people had access to those songs in a way that was going to like be modern, right?
Mm.
And I understand people really love the rawness of Spit and the fact that it sounds the way it sounds. But to be honest, uh, we didn't really do much different with the recording. Um, we used the same amps as we did with Spit. Like we used everything, minus like the guitars were different, but we used the same amps. We used the same producer. Somebody different mixed it, obviously. But yeah, like a lot of the guitar tones were the same. Um, it we wanted to get it pretty close. Um, so yeah, but we really wanted to just give people an updated version of the songs because we've been playing them live for so long and they've morphed into something that's a little more robust. So,
Good word.
and again, I think that really has more to do. I think it's like, oh, these songs sound heavier, and I think that's just kind of how we always wanted those songs to sound, but we just didn't know how at the time.
I was going to say, like, were you trying to reinvent or were you just wanting to honor the past? But you've only released 4 tracks. Why didn't you go for the whole hog?
Oh God, we would have been there forever.
Okay.
And like to be not forever. Like we probably could have done it, but I don't think like we would have been able to give that record the care and consideration that we really wanted to.
Yeah.
And there's, some other surprises from that recording session that are going to come out next year. So again, like we were doing other things in the studio at the same so we weren't, like it didn't take us 2 weeks to record 4 songs, trust me. I can do that in like 2 days. But yeah, like we wanted to give people like, I feel like recording the whole record would kind of be silly too. Because there's just songs that like I'm like, whatevs. I can deal without those. I can deal without them. Also, like, there are songs that we haven't played in literally 25 years on that record. Like, those songs just do not exist in our repertoire live. So we wanted to pick songs that we actually play live and that we have, our fan favorites.
Was it always? Oh, sorry.
No, Jerry, go on.
I was just gonna say, was it always those 4 songs you were gonna do, or was there any others that you almost did?
So we flip-flop between doing the whole record and then doing those 4 songs. We also were like, oh, well, what if we do this? There was a couple songs that we also kind of were in the running as well. But really at the end of the day, we wanted to pick like the real fan favorites. And the songs that we really still play live and that are still in our live set list. Who knows? Like we might break out something at some point.
You never know. If you want to break out Paper Doll, I'll be happy. Just saying. Yeah. Just saying. But just saying.
Probably not.
You're the only one that wants that, Jamie.
Um, were there any moments when you were re-recording that struck you differently now compared to when you recorded them originally?
Um,
So, quite a heavy question, sorry.
I know, right? Um, to be honest with you, like because I'm just so familiar with these songs, it was like another day at the office, like me going in there and playing the songs. It for for the entire project that we did, I think I recorded drums for like 3 days. For the and that's not obviously just the 4 songs that we recorded.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, like I could probably knock those 4 songs out in like a day or whatever. So and I'm so familiar with those songs. However, I do want to say that those songs I've never played to a click before. So because I don't play to a click live because whatever, I don't need it. But yeah, like it it was definitely interesting to play certain parts to a click that I've never done before. So I was like, oh God, okay, this is interesting. But yeah, like really, like I wanted to just make sure that the updated like live versions really sounded robust and like really were impactful. And there's not really much that's changed. I think the song that changed the most is probably, do you think?
Hmm.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably say so.
That,
Yeah.
there's a lot more double kick in that song. Like Spit's relatively the same. Charlotte is relatively the same, except it's just like a little more concise, less silly. And then what other song is there? Is it
Brackish,
only
isn't it?
3? No,
It's
yeah,
4.
Brackish.
It's brackish.
Oh, fuck. I'll tell you something cool. So Brackish, I actually was like, hey, Garth, can you just put the song in my ear? So I just played to the original recording of
Yeah.
Brackish. So it was the same time tempo. And let me tell you, it was dumb because there's so many tempo changes in that song. Like the entire song, like the verse and the chorus, and
Mm.
then there's the breakdown that's an entirely different tempo, and then it jumps. So then like I would get to that part and I'd have to stop and be like, hey guys, we gotta like maybe like give me like a 4 count or something before I have to go into that and then coming out of it. But anyway, yeah, so like with Brackish, I just was like, put the song in my ear. I'll just play to that. It's fine.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I suppose, how much did you listen to the original recordings before doing this? Because obviously you play them live all the time. Did you need to
Barely.
go back and re-listen to them, or was it just?
No, we actually like so I guess Spit nobody has mentioned this and like I'm just like are people misremembering the song? Which I think they are. So we added an extra chorus to Spit. Has anybody noticed that the re-record?
I mean,
Go
I'll be
back,
honest. I'll be honest. I didn't notice.
go back and listen because the original recording of Spit only has 1 chorus. But we added a second one to the re-recorded version. Nobody has said anything. So it's like everybody just thinks it exists in our timeline. It doesn't.
Wow.
It doesn't exist in the original recording.
It's like you throw some Easter eggs in just for the
Yeah.
sake of it. Like, yeah, we'll see if anyone notices this.
Correct. Nobody did, which leads me to believe that anybody's like, I don't like it. They're not actually fans of the band.
Well,
'Cause they didn't
disappointing.
listen to it. Yeah,
No,
they did. If they were
disappointing.
actually fans of the band, they would have noticed. Anyway.
And now I feel bad.
No,
Yeah,
no,
Jamie.
it's okay.
I know, right? You useless.
No, you'll get as soon as I said it though, you'll be like, oh shit, this didn't exist in the first recording.
I'm going to go back and listen to it after this because
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that. There we are. But obviously the EP's been out for a few days now. What has the feedback been like?
It's been fantastic. We just hit like 500,000 streams on, I think we're almost at 500,000 for Spit, which is pretty crazy. And then like the YouTube video for Spit XXV is almost at 700,000. Like, ah, everybody, I mean, there's always going to be somebody that's like, I don't like change and doesn't like
Right.
it.
Yeah.
And you know what? To each their own, right? Like we're not doing it for that person. We're doing this for the people that firstly, we're asking for it because so many people were asking for us to re-record these songs because, like, granted, like, when you're 15 years old, you're not the best player. Also, recording a record in 9 days, holy shit. Um, on Fender Squires, I mean, it's not going to sound the best, right? There's a ton of people that asked for it. And then also, we wanted to do it because we wanted to give people the opportunity to, like, hear these songs new and fresh. And obviously, like, me as like a 30 years on player now, I really wanted people to hear the updated versions. And I mean, they're not really that much different. It's just Morgan's voice is scarier and we're just better players. And then of course, because we wanted to, right? And that's really the most important reason.
Yeah.
Oh,
I wanted to satisfy something within myself, right?
plus, it's a nice way to celebrate a landmark of hitting 25
Yes.
years since your debut album. It's a great idea.
Yes. Maybe at the 50-year mark, we can we'll be so old that, like, when we record them again, it'll be like we'll be back to playing shitty because we all have arthritis or something.
Oh, I mean, it's not a bad idea, to be honest.
No.
It's out there now. It's out there in the universe. You know what I mean?
We'll re-record it for the 50-year anniversary, and I'll be like, ow, ow. I'm already ow, so like, let's
All
be
the
clear.
songs just massively slowed down, just to keep in time with everyone.
Yeah.
But you've been back in a massive way for the last couple of years. Like, what does the resurgence feel like for you personally after all these years?
It's honestly, this is the biggest the band has ever been. I was having a conversation with Abe from the Deftones the other day, and him and I was like, dude, like, I was like, you guys are the biggest you've ever been. And he was like, you guys are the biggest you've ever been. And it's true though. Like, for instance, when we came to England on this last run for our European festivals, like, there's festivals that we've never played. We wanted to play it safe, so we played like a 700 cap venue, and it sold out in like 3 days. Like that's insane to me.
Yeah.
Like, so that tells me we could have added another night, or we could have upgraded the venue, but we wanted it to be like, we wanted it to be, it was the hottest show I think I've ever played. Also, that show in London that we played. It was disgusting. I got off stage, I took a picture of my face, and it was like sweat beads.
Oh.
It is real gross. Yeah, I was soaked. I was fucking soaked. That was the hottest show I've ever played. But yeah, like in the US, we're headlining venues that are bigger than we ever played. In Toronto, we headlined a 2,500 cap venue. Like, that's insane.
Amazing. That's
It's
amazing.
massive, massive. We've never done that before. So I mean, again, like, this is the biggest the band has ever been. And like, it's so cool to just be like, wow, like, how is this a thing? Fire, our record that we put out last year, it had the highest Billboard chart position that we've ever had. The single We Are Shadows had the biggest chart position the highest chart position we've ever had on active rock radio. Like, that's insane, right?
Yeah. People want more Kittie.
Yeah.
They're demanding it.
Apparently.
What do you think led to that, though? Is it absent sun makes the heart grow fonder, as they say, or what do you think it was?
Yeah, you know what? I think you're probably right. I think we needed to go away when we went away, and just we wanted to just kind of put out legacy projects. That's why I have an adult job now. Like, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm normal now. Which, by the way, is that should be a completely other podcast. But yeah, like, we really, we're just kind of like, oh, let's just, like, do some legacy projects. There was definitely some, things like the documentary that were released. I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yes.
With the resurgence, because it was on streaming platforms, it was on Amazon Prime and stuff like that, and Tubi. I don't know where it's landed now, but I haven't looked in a while. But yeah, so I think the documentary had a lot to do with it. And then also, I think TikTok. There was a lot of like Gen Z um, and younger kids that discovered the band, maybe in their parents' record collection or CD collection, whatever you want to call it. Or, just by like browsing YouTube. And I think that there's something to be said about those songs and like the visceral anger that I think speaks to young people.
Mm.
Because you remember what it was like to be young, and so do
Yeah.
I. And it's definitely a lot different than being, an adult. So I think it speaks to young people. So it's kind of interesting, like our fans. So we have two different kinds of fans now. So we have people that are our age that are, like in their 30s and 40s and 50s, and they have liked the band for the duration of the band. So they started liking us when they were 15 years old. They started listening to us then. They've been to shows before. They know the drill. They know our entire back catalog. They're like, oh, yeah, I got into this band and In the Black, or I got into this band, blah, blah, blah. But then there's an entire subset of fans. So the other half are like 13, 14, 15, 16-year-old children. And it's like you look out into the crowd and it's like so crazy to see like all of the people that are our age, and it's like it's 50-50. It's like there's always like a group of kids like right up the front, and they sing every word to every song, and it's fantastic. Like we just played Louder Than Life in Kentucky on the weekend, and there was literally like you could see like the oldies, and there's people that like I recognize from shows and stuff like that, and I can see them. I can see the oldies, the old fans, and they're all singing along. And then there's these young girls and boys and they dems, and they are literally screaming the words too. So it's like um head exploded.
That's amazing. But like you say, I think as well, what probably contributes to this is now there's huge bands like Spirit Box, Ginger, and all these female fronted and female metal bands. There wasn't that when you guys were around. Like there
No.
was yourselves and maybe OTEP, and I'm sure there's some others, but not coming to me right now. So people are just
Well,
loving
I
these
wouldn't
bands and nothing
really, I
else.
wouldn't really compare bands like that to us because, like, let's be clear, like, yes, female fronted, great, but that's not what we are.
No, no, no.
We are a female band and we play instruments, right?
Oh,
Does that
absolutely. Yeah,
so,
yeah, yeah.
so again, like that, like again, I think that there should be more women playing instruments. Like you don't need to be
100%.
the singer, don't worry about it. Like you need to play your guitar or go pick up a bass or go pick up a drum kit or whatever. But like I think that there is a little bit, should be a little bit of like I mean, I understand the compare. So, no, at the time, like really the only other band that was like us was Drain. And they sounded like Alice in Chains. Like they were a rock band. They weren't a metal band. So really realistically at the time, no, there wasn't anything like us.
Mm. Yeah, I
I mean, other than
yeah.
like women screaming, right? So very different, in my personal opinion.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just saying though, because obviously female fronted and female metal bands are sort of like people
Yeah.
looking back at those bands from the past and discovering Kittie and being like,
Yeah.
fuck, this is so good.
Yeah. It's interesting too because like um I feel like for the longest time we weren't like really all that cool. And then it's kind of neat to be a cool person again. So people are actually like copying to like liking our band again, which is kind of neat. I always have at least one person like from a band at a festival, if we're playing festivals, like come up to me and be like, "Hey, I love your band." Or like I remember this one time there was a guy, I don't know, he was I can't remember. Oh, it was like Rock am Ring in Germany. Um, some guy came up to me and was like, "Hey, I really love your band." And this guy looked like super indie, like,
Yeah.
and then he like lifted up his shirt and he had a fucking kitty tattoo, and I was like, "Yes." This is fantastic. So yeah, like totally. Like I feel like more people are copping to liking our band, which is kind of neat.
Love it. Everyone should.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, we're not for everyone. We
oh
are
no,
for the children, though.
apparently so.
Yeah.
But obviously, you mentioned then when you came back with Fire, first album after 13 years, like you were saying, like you've been working on some stuff alongside the EP. When it comes to writing and stuff like that, has that process changed in that time, or is it still same as it used to be, like riding a bike?
So I think when we were writing Fire, for instance, um, the only thing that was really different is that we used Dropbox more because it existed. It exists now. If Dropbox existed when we were writing, I failed you, because I don't think it did. However, I have I am grandfathered into like a 2 terabyte Dropbox. Don't tell Dropbox though, because I've had it for so long. But anyway, so things like we would exchange riffs with Dropbox and stuff like that, and like we would demo, and like the fact that like I can like open up GarageBand on my computer and like record something that really wasn't as available back then, and because if you wanted to buy Pro Tools, you were going to spend, like 15 grand on your Pro Tools rig, back then, um, you know, back in the 2000s, the early 2000s, right? So things were definitely a lot different back then. And like being able to record yourself at home and demo at home is so much easier. So yeah, like I mean, like we definitely demoed a lot more for this just because it's so much more accessible. At the time, Tara was living across Canada, so like a good like 4,000 kilometers away or whatever. And she would fly in to like and be like, I'm gonna go visit my mom and have band practice. Um, is kind of neat. And then we would kind of jam the songs out that we were kind of working on and crafting on the internet. And sometimes Ivy would come up and like, we'd work stuff out with her. But Morgan and I live fairly close together, so we were writing pretty much and meeting up every weekend, and demoing things and it was super neat too because like like we were able to build songs and actualize them and change them and adjust them before we went into the studio with the demos, which is kind of nice. So like, like Morgan and I would record something, or like Tara would dump a riff into Dropbox and we'd be like, oh, let's use this in this song that we're working on. And then we would record it. So super neat.
Smart. It's amazing how much technology has changed and made life so much easier for bands. Like we've spoken to
Yeah.
bands before and here they're like, we literally got together in a room the first time when we recorded the album because everything else we just did on things
Yeah.
like Dropbox or Zoom meetings and things like that. It's crazy.
Exactly.
But obviously looking at the future, I know you've got a few festival dates announced for next year, including Bloodstock over here. So I'm very excited for that. But are there plans to tour for the new EP, or are we very hush hush on things at the moment?
There won't be anything until next year anyway, because we do have some things coming at the beginning of 2026, and we'll just see what happens. And then, of course, coming over there, I mean, I believe we have what, like 2 or 3 festivals announced for Europe and UK, right? Right. So Bloodstock, right?
Bloodstock,
Yeah.
and yes, there is
And then
another
there's
one.
another one too. But like, I mean, we're not gonna just come over for 2 shows.
That is very true. That is
Yeah.
very true. At least I bloody hope so.
Yeah. Who does that? I mean, not us. Like, we're like, that would be silly. Oh, that's a long flight for a show. Ugh. No thanks.
Especially a festival slot as well. Like fly all the way over here for like 40 minutes and then be like, bye then.
Oh, yeah.
Going home
More
now.
like 30. It's like, oh, here you go, 30 minutes. See you later. No, like I mean, it's very obvious that we're gonna be over there for more than just those 2 shows or that we've announced so far. So
Very excited.
But I mean, like, we still haven't done a proper US run either. We only did 4 shows last year for Fire. So I really do think that we probably need to do that as well, and we'll see what happens with that. We have nothing planned yet. But we'll see.
Was it like, so say you did 4 shows and stuff like, was it like just testing the water to see if people were still interested?
Yes. And
Yeah.
most of them were sold out. I think there was one that wasn't sold out. So
Still, that's pretty good going.
it's pretty good, right? And it
Yeah.
was really close. So I mean, again, like, we're always when we did those 4 shows, we were like, we don't even know if anybody's coming. So I mean, our booking agent was like, don't worry, people are gonna come. Like, I know that you guys are gonna do well. And we were like, well, we haven't played a show in this country in 13 years. So I mean, I guess we'll see when it happens. And it was great. It was great.
Amazing. It must be. It must have been such an amazing thing. Because, like you said, after such a long hiatus, to go out there and be like, they still love us. Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I feel like we felt a little unloved for a long time, so it's nice to feel loved again.
Did COVID have any effect, possibly, like the fact that you were all locked away for so long and not being able to do things? Did that help spark conversation back into getting back together again?
No, so I think really we just couldn't ignore our inbox anymore.
Okay.
We had this guy from Live Nation US that kept emailing us and was like, I have this festival I'm putting together. Like, please play this festival. Do it now. Like, it was like, it was becoming more and more like urgent. And I just took a screenshot of the email and sent it to Morgan. And I was like, what do you want to do about this? And she was like, I don't know, maybe I'll just write him back. So she wrote him back, and it was like, that's kind of how things started. So then we were booked for When We Were Young. And then as soon as we were booked for When We Were Young, we were also booked for Blue Ridge because they found out that we were playing that. And they were like, well, we want you too. So technically Blue Ridge was our first show back, even though we had booked When We Were Young first. And then it was just kind of like, everyone was like, well, we want you then. We want you to play the US again. And so yeah, like, all of those festival shows that we initially started to do in 2022, it was like, wow, crazy.
So to think, if it wasn't for a very persistent guy for Live Nation, none of this might not have
Thank
happened.
you.
So cheers to
Yeah,
that,
exactly, right? He was very persistent for sure.
So Mercedes, I am very conscious of time, but when we talk to musicians, one question we like to ask is, because people might be listening to this and be like, I like the sound of this guy, I like the sound of their band, but I've never listened to them before. So what's maybe like 1 or 2 Kittie tracks you'd recommend people to listen to get a feel for what you guys are about?
It's the hardest question I've ever been asked, I feel like. It depends. So I think if people like harsh vocals, they should go listen to Eyes Wide Open.
Oh, yes.
If they don't like harsh vocals, they should go listen to We Are Shadows.
Very good recommendations.
Can I throw Into the Darkness in there?
Yeah. Oh, sure. I don't know what the obsession is with that song. Like, literally, like, every time. So, and it's not a North America song. It's not a North America song. It's like UK, Europe, and like South America and Mexico. That's an Into the Darkness. Those are the people that like Into the Darkness.
Just love that song. I just love it.
I just the fact that both of us have said like a song each that we both really like, and you're like, nah.
It's interesting too. We did have, when we did our headliner set, we were playing like an hour and 20 minutes, which is that's long. Like, I'm old. Holy shit. It was long. But we did need to put a couple songs in there, from that era and from Until the End. I think it would have been nice if we had one more single from that record. but that's fine, whatever. Wasn't my call, unfortunately. That was a record label boo-boo. Um, but it would have been nice to be able to like release something else. But that song, we weren't necessarily, we were like, wow, okay, really? The label wants to pick that song? Okay. As the single? All right. But I think that I like the song. We added it to our set list and we played it, and we had a lot of fun playing it live too. Um, but yeah, it's definitely like it's in North America, not a hit. Everywhere else, everyone loves that song. So
That's really interesting.
yeah.
Mr. Stevens, do you have any more questions for our wonderful guest?
I do. Mercedes, when you first started this journey, when you first discovered Silverchair and thought, I could do something like this as well, did you ever think that 25, 30 years later, this is where you'd be today?
Oh my God, no. I mean, like, I obviously like many kids of that age, like I always, thought, oh, well, that would be really cool if that happened, but it was never something that you know, actually happen
Hmm.
because all of the bands that I liked and that I got into later on, like bands like Deftones and Corn and bands like Silverchair, they weren't from Canada. They weren't Canadian. They weren't from, a smaller city in Canada. Most bands that were popular, that Canadian bands that were popular were only popular in Canada and like did well regionally, right? So it was never something that we ever imagined just because that things like that didn't happen to people that we knew or to people from where I'm from. So it's super neat, and it's so cool that that happened, and it's really just like we were so lucky to be able to be afforded the opportunity. We were just literally at the right place at the right time.
Love that. And just blew up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
One record and boom, it's like, here you are on the world stage now. Like, oh,
Yeah.
Hi.
It's definitely interesting to say the least.
It's an amazing story. It really is. Just one last thing for myself. Obviously, it's very rare you get these opportunities as a fan of music, just to say thank you to an artist, because you guys really inspired me when I was younger. I was, like I said, that Brackish single when it was given to me just changed my life. So just a massive thank you. A massive thank you for me. Just thank you for all the music and everything like that, because it's been incredible growing up with listening to you guys. Before we let you go, plug social medias, websites. Where can people find you guys out in the world?
Well, I feel like the easiest way to find Kittie is Google.
Yeah.
You have to spell it right. So it's Kittie. You can follow us on Instagram. It's official Kittie on Instagram. I don't know. You can find. I think I can't even remember what if you use Facebook. Who uses Facebook now? Like grandma? Grandma? I guess you can look for us on Facebook. Yeah, you can also just search us on YouTube. You can find so many treasures. I believe our official Kittie YouTube is Kittie channel. You can find us on whatever it's called now, Twitter, X. But I mean,
Yeah.
Who uses that? And then we're also on TikTok as well. And I believe it is official Kittie on TikTok. We have a blue check mark, so that's how you can figure it out if it's actually us or not. And then, Google is your best friend. Really, other than that.
Incredible.
And of course, you can find all of us, like myself, Morgan, Tara, and Ivy on Instagram as well.
Incredible. Mercedes, thank you so much for taking time out to talk to us today. It really means the world. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm always happy to talk.
Mercedes, you're a legend. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. I really appreciate it massively. And
no problem. The next time we'll be hopefully where are you folks living?
I'm in Birmingham.
And I'm next to London.
Oh, okay. We'll probably see you next year.
Well, probably. Yes, we probably and most possibly will. Yes, we shall.
I think that's a great idea.
We look forward to it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
you guys so much.
Take care of yourself. All
Thank
right.
you
We'll
so
speak
much
to you
for
soon.
saying
See you later. Bye bye.
Bye.